All right, we're live. It's Wednesday, and I've got a special guest today, Cliff Weiner from the POA, is the president of the Property Owners Association. And we've got several things we're going to be talking about today. There are a lot of things. Cliff has been with us a couple of times over the last year and always brings a lot of value. And I know he's going to bring a ton of value today. We're going to be talking about a little bit about politics. We're going to be talking about Sumter County commissioner openings in the election and supervisor openings in certain districts. And we're going to be talking about the apartments. This has been something we haven't talked a lot about, but apartments around the Spanish Springs area. That's been an issue. A lot of people are for it and then against it. So there's a little bit of controversy there. And of course, we're going to be talking about the fire district as well. We've got, and that's been going on for quite a while. So, Cliff, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're
to
here.
be here.
Yes. So, look, there's always a lot of things going on, and I want to start here. Usually we end here, but I want to start here because we live in a great place. Like there's, Village is like no other community in the country, in the world, I think, right? Like it's just an incredible thing that the developer has created. But of course, just like any great place, there's always going to be some issues. And something that the POA does, as Cliff will probably tell us as well, is you guys are the watchdog for the citizens, for the residents here in the villages. So first of all, thank you for that. And what do you want to tackle first?
Let's do the special fire district if
Okay,
we
good.
could,
Yeah, let's do
because
that.
because
What's going on?
that's really an important issue. Um, it has passed both the Senate and the House in Florida, and it's sitting on the governor's desk, and he's going to expected to sign the bill. So that's all said and good. POA fought really hard to get a special fire district because um, the way it was operating before our fire district was controlled by Sumter County. We we had the fire trucks, but the finances and everything else came through Sumter County.
So
So
what
it's
does that
special.
what does that mean? So for people like there's some people already know what that means, but some people, a lot of the people that watch this are thinking about moving to the villages, by the way. So what does that really mean for future residents?
Okay, well, what it means is right now every rooftop pays $124 for fire district, and then on your tax bill, on your non ad valorem taxes, everybody pays approximately in Sumter County $275. It varies here and there. Okay, so that money goes to the tax collector in Sumter County, and then it's given to Sumter County, and the Public Safety Department submits a budget every year to Sumter County, and they decide how much money they're going to give them, and they usually give them what they need. I believe this year was almost $18 million, okay, to operate. What it would mean with the special fire district is there would be a board appointed of 5 people, or they would be appointed originally by the governor, but then after a certain period of time, they're elected by the residents, and they make the taxes. It's going to be done by taxes, and the issue is everybody's in favor of the special fire district. And by the way, the first 2 ambulances have come to the public safety department, and come September 30th of this year, they're going to transport the patients either way. No matter what happens, they're still going to do the transporting. This whole special fire district is just about who controls the money. Okay, so the way it's going to work is you're going to be taxed per the assessed value of your house minus the land, either 0.58, 0.71, or 1 mil. And it's probably going to be 1 mil. Okay. Now, the issue I'm having, because I've been working on this for a long time, is trying to determine what the land value of a house is. Okay, it's pretty easy to find out or figure out pretty damn close how much your house is worth, especially now with the prices soaring. So, and that's also going to be a factor, because if your house was $200,000 2 years ago and now it's $400,000, you're going to be paying more. So this isn't going to be cheap. And when people realize that, that's going to be the issue, because once the governor signs this bill in November, it will be on the ballot, and the residents of Sumter County, and only Sumter County, will be voting on this. So that's really kind of important. The residents of Marion County are not included in this. Marion County gets their transportation and fire provided by Marion County. Lady Lake and Lake County will have an interlocal agreement, and that's still to be determined. So this is basically for Sumter County residents. So they're going to be paying this. And I want to make a point that you can go on districtgov.org website, and if you go down to the fourth item listed, it says you decide. And that's actually on the issue of the special fire district. And there's some information, frequently asked questions that you can read through and see how they're going to do this. But there's also, on the last page, there's also some examples of how much it's going to cost you if you live in a courtyard villa, a patio villa, designer home, a premier home. And these are for houses. And then there's also the issue of commercial property. And the developer will be paying more money than he's paying now. Unfortunately, his commercial property all has a cap on it of $10 million. So if a piece of property is valued at $17 million or $27 million, he's only going to be paying on $10 million. 17 is going to float. So there's some issues that are there, but it's important for people to look at this and really try to figure it out, because in the long run, they're going to have a final say as to whether or not it's a special fire district or not. If this fails on the ballot, Public Safety Department is still going to transport. It's just going to stay the way it is now. Sumter County will collect $124 per rooftop, plus whatever is on your non-ad valorem taxes, and they will, send the money to the Public Safety Department. It's a matter of who controls it right now. The POA is working very hard right now, trying to figure out a way that we can determine the land value of a house. So we can do some examples and take 6 or 7 or 8 pieces of property and decide, a premier, a courtyard villa, blah, 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 so that we can help the residents figure out that if they live in a house that's valued at $400,000, how much it's actually going to cost. Because that's in the bottom line, that's all that everybody wants to know, is how much is this going to cost me out of my pocket? You're not going to see any difference anywhere else, except the transporting of the patients to the hospital is going to be better, because the Public Safety Department is going to be doing it rather than American Medical Response, which is AMR, which is doing it now for Sumter County. So in a nutshell, that's the way it works. But it's really important. This is strictly an issue for Sumter County residents.
And look, it's so that's good information. And of course, location matters, right? Like, and this, Cliff, like, properties that might be closer to Sumter Landing, a lot. If you've got an Amarillo, you got a Lantana, whatever model, that's 5 minutes golf cart ride to Sumter Landing is going to be different than you've got a 10-minute golf cart ride. Like, there is value there. So
correct.
That's interesting to figure that out.
And it's going to be pretty hard to really pin it down until you actually get this. And by the way, I just want people on, this isn't going to happen if there's a special fire district. It probably won't go into effect until October of 2023. Gets voted on in 2022. If it passes, it's going to take them a year to really get this thing set up. It's not going to affect transportation or fire service. It's the inside logistics of how they're going to figure out how much everybody's going to pay. That's going to be the problem. But once they vote on it, and if it passes, you're stuck with the results. So it's important for people to try to get all the information they possibly can. POA's had a couple of articles in the bulletin on it. We will continue to do as much as we can before November. And then I say we're working on it really hard, and hopefully in the next month or so, we're going to have something really concrete.
So obviously, district.gov and of course the POA, and people can have access to the newsletter magazine that POA puts out on a monthly basis if they're out of the market.
Right? They can go to our website, poaforus.org, and we put the bulletin on the website around the first of every month. Actually, it starts to get delivered on the first Monday of every month. So on the first Monday of every month, it's definitely up there.
POA for us, the number 4.
Number 4.
.org.
Very good, Glenn.
Good job. All right, good. So anything else on the special fire district?
No, it's just I just really stress even people that are moving here from out of state and everything else, because I know I originally 20 years ago came from Ohio. This place is like no place else up north. So it's really important that you do your due diligence to understand what you're getting involved in. And Glenn said it in the beginning, this is the best community in the world, or I wouldn't still be here after 20 years. But there are issues, and that's what we try to do. What we actually try to do is put out information so people can make their own decision. They're all smart enough to do that. They're smart enough to save enough money to move to the villages. They're smart enough to figure out what's right and what's wrong if they have the proper information.
Well,
that's what the important thing is.
I think you nailed it right there, Cliff. I've been saying this a lot, not only with this, but just everything else in life, right? Like, get educated, and as experts, what we need to be doing is providing that information and let people make their own decisions based on the education and the information they get. So I think that's smart. You want to attack the let's attack the apartment situation.
Okay, the apartments at Spanish Springs. The developer has put in plans to put 7 apartments where Katie Bell's restaurant used to be. I think it's 3 1-bedroom and 4 2-bedroom, I believe, is what he put plans in for. I will tell you that there's a survey right now on poaforus.org, which is our website, for people to take as to whether or not they're in favor or opposed of the apartments. You said it before when we first started, there's a lot of controversy on this issue. Some people are for it, some people are against it.
What are the positive? Let's talk about that. I mean, and I'm not asking you to tell us what side you're on this, but what are the pros and cons on both sides? What are the
Well, I think some of the pros are, you're close to downtown or a square, you're close to restaurants, you're close to shopping, you can walk to almost all of those things. So that's a positive. Okay. On the other hand, you're going to have music playing from 4 o'clock until 9 o'clock every night. I actually don't know if apartments are good or bad, and I'm not trying to make that decision at all. But what I am trying to do is help the Sumter County Commissioner, the Lady Lake Commissioners make a decision as to what they're going to do, because it's going to go before them, and they are having a meeting on May 2nd. The only issue or the only topic on the agenda that month or that meeting is going to be these apartments. They want to hear from residents. I have talked to the mayor of Lady Lake on several occasions, and all they want is people to show up. And if you're for them, that's great. If you're against them, that's great. They don't want to be the ones to make the decision. They want the residents to tell them what they want to do. So I think it's really, this is really an important issue, because there's things that have happened at Spanish Springs Town Square that aren't in the norm right now. The show's been closed for 2 years. The building permit expired 1.5 years ago, so nobody knows what's happening with the movie theater. There's all kinds of rumors floating, which I'm not even going to talk about because I hate rumors, because usually they're not true. But they feel the same way I feel. Let the residents tell them what they want them to do. So your support is really, really, really an important issue. And if you live in District 1 or the historic side of the villages, or even District 2, those are the people that really count, because those are the people who are going to be affected the most by the apartments in the square. So that's the message I'm trying to get out. Let's help them make the right decision. I think it's really kind of important. our future sort of depends on it. I mean, I've been here and I remember when this town square was a lot different than it is right now. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. Not for me to really make that decision, but
Well, it's also what's interesting, and whether it's good or bad, that's an interesting question. I'm not sure of it either. I think there's pros and cons, but also what it does set a precedent, whatever, right? Like it said,
correct.
right? Like if it's okay there, why not other places too?
Well, and it's been talked about. Why not Lake Sumter? Okay, it's definitely been talked about. So it is kind of important to decide, do we want this precedent set?
Has there been a hearing or a session, a public session set with Lady Lake? Is that upcoming?
It's they've had many issues and talks about this, and they turned it down for a long time, and the developer just was going to sue them because they couldn't put them on, and there was an agreement they had that was started in 1987 with the developer and Lady Lake, and they rescinded the agreement with a little pressure, and this led to this happening, but they're still not in favor 100% of it. And that's so, it's a split vote, let's say, they really don't know which way to go. So they want the residents to help them make that decision rather than 5 people sitting there making that decision. So if at all possible, if you can attend that meeting, take the survey, help them make the decision, I think you'll, in the long run, be happy you did.
But we don't have a date set just yet.
Well, yeah, May 2nd.
Oh, May 2nd. Okay, good.
May 2nd, 6 p.m. at the Lady Lake Town Hall on Fennell Road and 441.
Good. I like that. And but by the way, is that limited to a certain geographic area? Like, is
No.
that okay?
No.
Could be
anybody. Anybody can go. Okay. And anybody can take the survey, but they really are interested, or they'd like to hear from people that live in the historic side because it affects them the most, and actually districts 1 and 2. But anybody.
Got it.
I will be there. That's for sure.
Well, you're not there. You don't live in either district.
I don't live in either district. Correct.
Where do you live, Cliff? No, don't answer that.
I live in the Marion County section of the Villages, so I'm not even involved in the special fire district.
Yeah, and look, that's something that's a testament to your position as president of the POA. Like it's the whole of the village. It's not just your area, of course. Let's talk a little about politics. There's a lot of stuff here. It's gotten a little bit complicated over really a lot of things, but there's some things that are happening that people need to know about.
There are, unfortunately, there were only supposed to be 2 seats up for Sumter County Commission this election 2022, seats 2 and 4. And when I say districts 2 and 4 for them, they're different than the districts 2 and 4 of the villages. Okay, these are Sumter County district seats, and both of those seats are not actually in the villages primarily. Most of them are in South Sumter. So I just want to make that distinction. I live in District 4, but I'm not this District 4. So, so instead of that, though, because two of the commissioners, which I'm sure everybody that lives down here knows, were suspended for violation starting of the sunshine laws, which led to lying under oath, which is resulted in felony charges being assessed against them. So there are 4 seats that are now up instead of 2. 2 of the seats are for 4 years and 2 of the seats are for 2 years. So up until now, and I know I'm going to get myself in lots of trouble with this because I usually do, the developer has had people on this commission that have sided more with him than they have with the residents. In 2022, we got there were 3 seats up for election, and we got 3 people elected, which took that away from the developer. 2 of those people now have since been charged with, I'm not sure they're actually legitimate charges, but that's beside the point. That issue is off the table. What's important now is that people get to know the candidates that are running so the residents can make a valued determination as to who they want to represent them. On June 21st at Everglades Rec Center, the POA has its monthly meeting, and we will be having a candidate night for all the candidates that are running for those 4 seats and a couple of other offices that are up for election. In District 1, there are 3 people running. In District 2, there are 2 people running. In District 4, there are 4 people running. In District 5, there are 3 people running. So it's important that people get to hear these candidates and get to see them. And while we're on this topic, the POA takes its membership meetings. Because of what Glenn started with this, I decided to try it too, and we live stream our meetings. So thank you for that. And the results have been pretty good. We're getting 300, 400, 500 sometimes views on a meeting. So the information is getting out there. So if you can't come to my meeting at Everglades, you can at least look at it afterwards. We have it on our Facebook page, POA of the Villages, or it's posted on our website the day after the meeting, and you can go look at it. You can go over and over and over and listen to the candidates. Hopefully we'll get to ask them some pertinent questions as to what their goal is for running and what their intentions are to help the residents of Sumter County. But it's important that people look at this and figure out which candidates are better for them, because a couple of candidates still favor the developer, I'm afraid.
A little bit of balance would be good for sure.
Yeah, there would be. And then something else I want to talk about, Glenn, real quickly is there's a couple, NSCOD, North Sumter Utility Dependent District, which is the governing body of our water, sewer, trash pickup. Okay, has 2 seats that are up for election, and that's really an important board to people that 99% of the people in the villages don't even know exists. Okay, and they make the rates that we pay for all of those entities. So there are 2 seats up for those, for that board. Hopefully they'll be there and that we can make a decision on that. But the other thing I want to talk about is in the districts, numbered districts in the villages, and there's 13 of them right now. There is not one candidate running that is opposed. Not one. There was one that was opposed, and it was a death on District 2's board, so he applied for that seat and got it. So now there are no seats that are opposed. I need residents that think they might be interested in whatever district it is, because every district has at least 2 seats open for election in November. They think about getting into the race. It's really, really important. You can't try and fix a problem if you don't try and do something about it. You can't complain about a problem.
For the people that don't know this, like there's a lot of people like, okay, this is interesting. A lot of people are not used to the whole district system. Like they're not familiar with it. What does that position do? What's the responsibility?
The responsibility of the district supervisors is the financial responsibility of their district. Okay, how the money is spent to keep their little area up to the way it's supposed to be. If you come from up north or probably anywhere else in the country, you've never run into a government like this. It's like nothing I've ever seen. And I'm sure most people don't. And it's really kind of confusing at first, but the best way to try to figure it out is go to a couple of your district meetings and see what happens. Okay. And I will say that there will be some seats. There will be some seats available on the AAC Amenity Authority Committee that will be up for election in November. That's probably the most important board in this community, because they control all of the amenity monies north of 466, with the exception of the money that is used to repay the bonds. And they have complete authority. So that is really the most important board in the villages, as far as I'm concerned. And there are 3 seats that will be up for election. So I think, and we will probably get a chance to talk about that maybe down the road, because that's not, they can't even qualify for that yet. That doesn't start until May. So it's important that people try to figure out if they want to get involved, to be honest with you.
You know, it's interesting. As you're talking about this, Cliff, I'm thinking, you know, there's been so many changes in the real estate market, which I've been talking about over the last couple of years. And it looks like we've got some similar change coming up on the government side too. Like you've addressed several things that look like change is coming, and not necessarily that it's bad, good or bad. It's just different. Just some different things that are coming up.
There are some different things that are coming up. And because the Villages is changing, and you probably more than anybody realize it, because the Villages north of 44 is much different than the Villages south of 44. Much different. And it looks different. It's governed different. So there are lots of issues that are not similar, and that's what causes a lot of the problems. Because they are so different, and I don't know how you get around it. I mean, it's not that it's a bad thing. It's just that people have to understand things aren't exactly the same, and that's, in a way, that's good.
Like different states, right? Like it's very
right,
much
right. So, but the point is that people need to take an interest, and unfortunately, lots of people move down here. And they're only interested in a couple of things. You know, is the sun going to shine tomorrow? Do I have a tea time? And there's more important things, especially when it involves you. And that's when I get a phone call, usually when something physically or personally involves them, and can I help them straighten it out?
Speaking of which, if somebody does have an issue, if they want to get involved, if they want to become a member of the POA, or if they have questions about anything that we've talked about before, what's the best move?
The best way is to call the POA phone number. It's 352-418-7372. And our email address is POA4YOU@gmail.com.
Excellent. Cliff, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Glenn. Pleasure to do it, and we'll have to do it again soon.
Look forward to it.
Thank you, buddy.
Take care.